still remember the day my father was dying. His breathing was heavy, his face pale. He looked at me with weak eyes and whispered, "Jessica, open the safe. There is a small envelope. Bring it to me." I opened the safe. Inside, there was a yellow envelope. I handed it to my father. He gave it to me with trembling fingers and said, "Open it, my daughter." I opened the envelope. Inside was a small photo. A little girl, maybe 2 years old, in a red dress, holding a pink doll. She had big black eyes and such a beautiful face. I was confused. I asked, "Dad, who is this little girl?" He closed his eyes for a moment, then whispered, "She is your sister. Her name is Helia. Please find her." Slowly he said, "Forgive me, Jessica." And with those words, my dad took his last breath. My name is Jessica. This is my story. When I was 29, I find out that I was not an only child. A few days after my father's death, I sat alone in my room. I opened the envelope again. The little girl's eyes looked at me. For a moment, I looked carefully at the photo. Slowly, I saw something strange. Her eyebrows, her cheeks, and nose looked like me. A warm feeling filled my heart. I had always wished for a sister or a brother. I grew up alone in a big house with silence around me. And now I knew I had a sister. Then I noticed there was also a folded letter inside the envelope. With trembling hands, I opened it. The letter was written in my father's handwriting. "My dearest Jessica, if you are reading this, I am no longer alive. There is a truth I never had the courage to tell you. Years ago, I fell deeply in love with a woman named Jida. She was beautiful, kind, and gentle. But she was not my wife. I betrayed your mother, Barbara. From that love, a daughter was born. Her name is Helia. She is your sister. I wanted to protect her, but life and fear separated us. Jida left the house with the child, and I never saw them again. Jessica, forgive me for the pain I caused. Forgive me for my weakness. Please, if you can, find Helia. She deserves to know she has family. She deserves to know she is loved." As I read the words, tears fell down my cheeks. My heart was heavy with sadness, but also full of hope. I whispered to the photo, "Helia, my sister, wherever you are, I will find you." That night, my life changed forever. The next day, I called an old maid. She had worked in our house for many years. She was a kind woman, and I knew she had been very close to my mother, Barbara. I looked into her eyes and said quietly, "I know you know the truth. Please tell me everything you know." At first, she hesitated. Her hands shook as she poured tea into my cup. She whispered, "Jessica, my dear, this secret was hidden for so many years. Your mother never wanted you to know." I leaned forward. My heart was beating fast. "Please, I need to know. Who is Helia? Where is she? What happened to her mother, Jida?" The servant looked at me with sad eyes and said, "Jessica, your mother Barbara was a very strong woman. All the family wealth came from her father, your grandfather. That is why your father, Charles, always depended on her. In truth, he was even afraid of her. Your father, Charles, loved Jida. She was a servant in this house, but she was not just a servant. She was beautiful, with black hair and dark eyes. Many men admired her. Charles could not resist. Their love was a fire that could not be hidden. From that love, a child was born, Helia. When Barbara discovered the relationship between your father and Jida, she was furious. But she did not make a scandal. She simply went to Jida and said, "You must leave this house without a trace. Take your child and go to a faraway city. Disappear. If you do not go, you will never see your daughter again." Barbara gave Jida some money and ordered her to vanish forever. The servant's voice trembled. That same night, Jida packed a small bag. She held Helia in her arms and escaped into the darkness. No one ever saw her again. Barbara never told your father that she knew about his betrayal. But your father knew she was the reason Jida and Helia were lost. He was afraid, so he never said anything. Your father was very sad. He searched, but he found nothing. He became quiet and kept his sadness inside. Tears burned my eyes. The servant continued. Charles loved Helia, but Barbara's power was too strong. He could do nothing. And so, for years, the secret lived only in his heart. Years later, when your mother Barbara was on her deathbed, your father Charles sat next to her. He held her hand and begged her with tears, "Barbara, please forgive me. Please tell me if you know where Jida and Helia are. I just want to see my daughter once before I die." But Barbara turned her face away. Her voice was cold. She said, "I will never forgive you, and I will never tell you where they are." Your father's heart broke again that day. He walked out of the room with no answer. And until his last breath, he carried the pain of losing Helia. After hearing the old servant, I went back to my room. I imagined my father at night. He sat alone with one photo in his hands. It was a photo of Helia, the little sister. I closed my eyes and pressed the photo to my chest. "Dad, you should have told me. You should have fought harder. But now it is my turn. I will not be silent. I will find Helia." That night, I knew my life had a new mission. I knew it would not be easy. My mother Barbara had hidden every trace, but I knew the world was big. Somewhere my sister was alive. I decided to search in public. I put advertisements in newspapers, magazines, and on the internet. In every ad, there was the photo. A girl in a red dress with a pink doll. Under the photo, I wrote, "This girl's name is Helia. She is my sister. If you have any information about her, please contact me. A large reward will be given." Very soon, the phone started ringing. Many people called. Some were kind, some were curious, and some just wanted the reward. Each time I heard a new story, my heart filled with hope. I traveled to different cities. I knocked on doors. I asked questions. But every time, it was not Helia. Every time I came home with tears in my eyes. Still, I refused to give up. I told myself, every wrong way brings me closer to the right way. One day, in another city, Helia was working in a small tailor shop. An old friend from her orphanage came to visit. He had a newspaper in his hand. He showed it to her and said, "Helia, look at this. Isn't this you?" Helia stopped. She looked at the photo and began to cry. She also had the same photo. Her mother always kept this photo in her purse. She cried for a long time. She remembered her mother, remembered the night she lost her. But then, slowly, a new feeling rose in her heart. For the first time in years, Helia felt she was not alone. Somewhere in this wide world, there was someone with her blood. Someone who loved her enough to search everywhere and even offer a reward. That night, with trembling hands, she copied my number onto a piece of paper. She waited until her heart was calm. Then she picked up the phone. That night my phone rang. I picked it up on the first ring. "Hello," I said. There was silence. Then a soft, shaky voice whispered, I am Helia." My heart stopped. Tears filled my eyes. For a moment I could not speak. I only cried. My hands shook. And in that moment, with all my heart and soul, I knew the truth. This time it was real. It was her. She was Helia. I finally said, "Yes, you are my sister." We both cried on the phone. I asked quickly, "Where are you? Tell me your address." Helia gave me the name of her city. The next morning, I bought the first flight ticket. When I landed, I looked around the airport, and then I saw her, a young woman with black eyes, holding the same pink doll. We ran to each other. We hugged so tightly. We cried and laughed at the same time. People around us stopped and watched. Some of them cried too. Reporters took photos and videos. The airport was full of joy. That night, we sat together for hours. We talked and talked. We felt we could speak forever and never be tired. I finally said, "Sister, we are together. We will never be apart again." That night, after we hugged and cried, we sat together. I held her hands and said, "Tell me everything. Tell me about your life. Tell me about your mother." Helia's eyes filled with tears. She took a deep breath. Then she began to speak. After we left the big house, Helia said, "My mother Jida took me to another city. It was far away, crowded, and noisy. She rented a small house with the money Barbara gave her. Every morning she baked cookies and cakes. She sold them in the market. That was how we lived." Helia continued, "Many men wanted to marry my mother. She was beautiful, young, and strong. But she did not trust anyone. Then one man, Johnny, came again and again. He promised love. He promised to care for us. My mother agreed to marry him only on one condition. She said, 'You must give Helia a birth certificate with your name as her father.' Johnny accepted. At first, he was kind. He was like a father to me. But soon he changed. He was jealous. He was angry. He thought every man in the market looked at my mother. He shouted. He hit her. Our house was full of fear. One night, he threw a knife at my mother. It went straight into her heart. Blood covered the floor. My mother was killed. I was only 10. I saw everything. I can never forget that night. Johnny was arrested. He went to prison. I was sent to an orphanage. I grew up with other children like me. We all had broken stories. I missed my mother every day. When I turned 18, I left the orphanage. I found work in a tailor shop. I never married. I carried my pain quietly. Helia finished her story. She wiped her tears. I listened with tears in my eyes. I held her close and whispered, "You are not alone anymore. You have me now. I am your sister. We will heal together." For the first time, Helia smiled softly. She said, "I believe that." That night, after Helia told me her painful story, we sat in silence. I held her hand. Then I asked thoughtfully, "Why do adults make choices that hurt their children's lives? Why do children have to suffer because of their mistakes?" Helia looked at me with sad eyes. "I don't know, Jessica. Maybe they thought of themselves, not of us." I whispered, "Who was guilty? Was it father because he betrayed my mother? Was it Jida because she agreed to love a married man? Or was it Barbara because she forced Jida to leave and hide the child?" We could not find an answer. We only knew one thing. We, the children, carried the pain. And now, dear listeners, we ask you, in this story, who was most guilty? Charles, Jida, or Barbara? Please write your ideas in the comments. Please watch and listen to other stories on this channel.